My name's Jordan, I'm 35, and I used to think that if you did enough for your family, paid the bills, showed up to events, smiled through the insults, they'd eventually see your worth. Turns out, all it gets you is a folding chair in the hallway and a lukewarm box of pasta while everyone else clinks champagne glasses. It was a Friday evening when it all went down. The kind of night where the air smells like rain but nothing actually falls. My sister, Lisa, had sent out a family-wide invite a week earlier. Dinner to celebrate Michael's promotion, it read, with emojis of confetti and champagne. Michael, her golden child. My nephew who once got suspended for sneaking vodka into biology class but somehow still walks on water in Lisa's eyes. He'd landed a job at some startup, nothing groundbreaking, but Lisa acted like he'd discovered gravity. I wasn't going to go at first. I just pulled a double shift at the clinic. I hadn't even showered, and frankly, the idea of another dinner where I sat silently while they laughed about inside jokes I was never part of didn't exactly thrill me. But then I thought, maybe this time will be different. I should have known better. I showed up in slacks and a blazer, hair combed, teeth brushed, with a gift in hand, nothing flashy, just a nice leather-bound notebook and a sleek pen. Something to mark the start of Michael's new chapter. I walked into the restaurant, one of those overpriced places where water comes in glass bottles and they charge extra for bread, and immediately, I knew. The way Lisa looked at me, like she'd stepped on something sticky. "Oh, you came?" she said, eyebrows raised. "You invited me," I replied, trying to keep my tone neutral. "Right, yeah, I just wasn't sure you'd actually." Anyway, she waved her hand like she was swatting away a fly. We're all set up inside. I followed her through the dining room, passing round tables decked with candles and white linen. We stopped in front of a long table already full. My parents, cousins, aunts, uncles, all crammed in, laughing and sipping. There was one empty seat at the end. My stomach unclenched for a second. Then Lisa turned and said, "Oh, that's for Grandpa. He's just in the restroom." She handed me a brown paper bag with grease spots already blooming through the sides. "We didn't think you'd want to stay the whole time, so I asked them to box up something early. Pasta primavera vegetarian, right?" I just stared at her. She actually had the nerve to hand me takeout. In front of everyone. "I figured you'd be more comfortable in the hall," she added, pointing toward the side corridor that led to the restrooms and staff area. "You hate crowds." That part was true. I do hate crowds. Especially when they're full of people who only remember you exist when they need something fixed or funded. I didn't say a word. Just took the box, nodded like a fool, and backed away while the laughter picked up again. I found a bench outside the hallway bathrooms, tucked behind a fake potted plant and a fire extinguisher. It smelled faintly of bleach and something burnt. I peeled back the lid. It was already cold. As I picked at it, I thought about the last few years. How I'd covered Lisa's utility bills more times than I could count. How I co-signed the loan for my parents' new car. How I lent Michael money for a deposit on his first apartment. No one had paid me back, and I never asked. I always figured, it's family. They'd do the same for me. But deep down, I knew that wasn't true. They wouldn't. Half an hour passed. I checked my phone. No texts. No missed calls. No one asked if I was okay. The restaurant staff walked by a few times, giving me sympathetic looks. One even asked if I was lost. I almost laughed. Then, around the hour mark, I heard the clinking of glasses. The toast. Lisa's voice rang out like nails on a chalkboard. "To Michael, our star. You make this family proud." There was cheering, applause. Someone banged on the table. I closed my container and tossed it in the trash next to the bathroom. My appetite was gone. I was just about to leave when a waiter approached me, a sleek-looking guy with slicked-back hair and a silver pin tucked behind his ear. He smiled politely, then glanced at his little notepad. "Excuse me, sir. Are you Jordan?" I blinked. "Yeah, there's a discrepancy on the check. The bill's already split, but your portion is the remaining balance, $2,900. I almost laughed. "You got the wrong guy." He tilted his head, a little confused. "This is the name I was given. Lisa said you'd take care of it." I stared at him for a long moment. His smile faltered. He looked nervous now, probably wondering if I was about to blow up. But I didn't yell. I didn't cause a scene. I just stood up slowly, dusted the crumbs from my lap, and gave him the calmest smile I could muster. "I don't pay for strangers," I said. "You should ask the people at the table." Then I walked past him, to the dining room, straight toward the door. And that's when I heard it, Lisa's sharp voice rising over the low music and murmurs of conversation. "Wait, what do you mean he said no? He's family." He always pays. I kept walking. The last thing I saw before I pushed open the door was Michael looking up from his phone, puzzled. Then Lisa scrambling to get out of her seat, panic starting to creep across her face. I didn't look back. The moment I stepped out into the night air, something in me cracked loose, quietly, without fanfare, like a button snapping off an old coat you've worn too long. I didn't drive home right away. I sat in my car with the engine off, fingers resting on the steering wheel, staring out at nothing while my mind replayed every quiet insult I'd ever swallowed at that table. Every time they made a joke at my expense and called it love. Every time Lisa said I was too sensitive. Every birthday they skipped. Every dinner they made me pay for under the assumption that I owed it to them for being the one who made it out. I scrolled through my phone. No texts. No apologies. Just the quiet confirmation of everything I already knew. I wasn't family. Not in the way they defined it. I was the ATM with a pulse. The spare chair. The emergency contact they only remembered when rent was due. I went home, opened my laptop, and got to work. You see, what Lisa and the rest of them didn't know was just how much I'd been managing behind the scenes. Over the years, I'd gotten tired of them defaulting on everything. So I'd put my name on more than just their bills. Lisa's mortgage? In my name. Michael's car? Me. Even my parents' property taxes, set to auto-pay under an account they didn't have access to. I didn't do it out of control. I did it because I thought I was protecting them. Because I believed that one day, they'd appreciate it. That they'd look at me and say, "Thank you, Jordan. We see you. We're sorry." But they didn't. And that night, after being fed cold pasta and insulted with a bill the size of a mortgage payment, I realized I'd been playing landlord to a circus of entitlement. So I stopped. Quietly, methodically, without a single warning. First, I logged into Lisa's mortgage portal and canceled the auto-pay. I let the next due date sit there, untouched, with a red alert that would hit in about 12 days. I also scheduled a document delivery, the kind that makes you sign for it, letting her know that the house would officially revert to my ownership within 60 days if payment wasn't made. Because, and here's the kicker, she hadn't read the fine print on the contract I had her sign when I saved her from foreclosure 4 years ago. She thought I'd just helped out. Nah, I bought it. In full. Her name was only listed as a tenant. Legally, I was her landlord. Next, I pulled up the car loan for Michael. I'd made the down payment, covered the monthly notes for the last 16 months, and ensured he never saw a bill. He'd bragged online about buying it himself, started from the bottom, now I'm here. Or something equally cringeworthy. I stopped the payments. Scheduled a repossession. I even called ahead to make sure it happened early in the morning, when he'd be getting ready for work, thinking he was still hot stuff with his tech startup badge. Then I tackled the utilities for my parents' house. Gas, water, electricity, all on my name, all paid automatically. I stopped every one. It took 5 clicks. And just for good measure, I added a "do not restart without owner consent" note on each account. They'd have to call me to get them turned back on. Which, of course, I wasn't going to do. By the time I finished, it was nearly 3 a.m. My phone buzzed for the first time. Lisa texted, "Where did you go?" "The waiter said you left without paying. I had to put it on my card. You could have warned me." I didn't reply. 10 minutes later, she texted again, "This isn't funny. You know how tight things are right now. Mom said you'd cover it." Still, I said nothing. Then came Michael. "Hey man, can you spot me till Friday?" The card declined at the gas station. Weird. Then my mother, "Why are the lights off? Did you forget to pay again? Can you call the company? Your father is getting upset." By morning, I had 27 missed calls. By noon, 42. I silenced my phone, put on some music, took the day off work. I even went for a walk. For the first time in years, I felt light. It took less than 2 days for the fallout to start. First, Lisa. She called during dinner hours, the time she knew I'd be free. When I didn't pick up, she left a voicemail. Her voice was tight, trying to sound calm, but there was a quiver in it. "Hey, Jordan. So, I got a letter from the mortgage office. Something about a notice of default. I'm sure it's just a mix-up, but, can you call me? Like soon." I saved the voicemail. Didn't respond. That weekend, Michael's Instagram story featured a cryptic photo of his driveway. Empty, with the caption, "People be fake AF." He posted a poll, "Ever been betrayed by someone close?" With 2 options, yup and always. I tapped yup. By Monday, my mother called my work. A receptionist passed me the phone and whispered, "It's your mom. She sounds desperate." I took the call in the break room. "Jordan," she said immediately. "Did something happen? We haven't heard from you." "I noticed," I said, stirring my coffee. "The utilities. Your father nearly fell down the stairs trying to find a flashlight." "I'm sure Michael's promotion can pay for batteries," I said, sipping slowly. There was a long silence. Then, "That's not fair." "No," I said. "What's not fair is spending years supporting people who treat me like a backup plan until they need a credit card." She sighed. "Honey, it was just a dinner." "Exactly," I said. "A dinner that proved everything I've always suspected." Another silence. Then she said the one thing I'd waited a lifetime to hear. Not an apology. Not regret. Just, "We need to talk." But I wasn't ready. Not yet. Because something told me the best part of this story hadn't even started. I didn't block their numbers, at least not right away. No, I wanted to hear the voicemails pile up. Let the desperation steep. It was oddly satisfying, hearing Lisa's tone evolve from annoyed to confused to that cracking edge of panic she usually reserved for when the nail salon double-booked her. She tried every flavor of manipulation, guilt, flattery, even pretending it was all a misunderstanding. One voicemail, "Hey, can you just call me back? I think we got our wires crossed. I didn't mean to, exclude you. You get so uncomfortable in big groups." I was trying to help. The next day, "Jordan, this is serious. The mortgage company said they're sending someone to evaluate the property. Are you really doing this to your own sister?" Then came the text messages. My favorite was a screenshot of her bank account with a minus $18.43 balance and a caption that read, "Happy now." As if her financial ruin was supposed to make me feel guilty. Like I hadn't been plugging that sinking ship for years. Michael wasn't much better. He sent one long, breathless message that read like a stream of consciousness meltdown. "Dude, my car's gone. Gone. Some guy just rolled up with a flatbed at 6:30 a.m. and took it. I called the cops, and they told me it was a repo. What is wrong with you, man? You said you had it covered. You always pay. Why are you doing this now?" I didn't answer. Instead, I went to the gym. Had a smoothie. Took myself out for sushi. You'd be amazed how quiet life gets when you finally stop fixing things for people who never said thank you. And how loud they get when the silence drags on. The next real blow came Wednesday. My parents showed up at my place. I live in a quiet townhouse on the edge of the city, nothing fancy, but it's mine. Paid for, clean, no one else's name on the deed. I was folding laundry when I saw them through the peephole, Dad in his usual windbreaker, arms crossed like he was staging a protest, and Mom with that pinched look she wears when she's rehearsing something manipulative. I didn't open the door. Instead, I turned the volume up on my TV and sat on the couch. They knocked 4 times. On the 5th, Dad muttered something I couldn't hear. Then I saw Mom take out her phone and start typing. A few seconds later, my phone buzzed on the coffee table. Mom texted, "We're outside. Can we talk?" Then another, "Jordan, this isn't how families work." And finally, "You're acting like a stranger." Stranger. That word sat heavy in my chest for a moment. I stared at it, then looked out the peephole again. They were still there, shivering a little in the wind, as if showing up in person was enough to erase everything. I texted back, "Strangers don't pay your mortgage, or cover your bills, or sit in hallways with takeout while you toast someone else. You made it clear I wasn't family. So now I'm just playing my part." They left 5 minutes later. I didn't feel good. Not exactly. I wasn't celebrating. But I felt something else, something steadier than guilt. Clarity. For the first time, I knew exactly where I stood. And it wasn't in the hallway anymore. The next 2 days were quiet. Too quiet. Then, Saturday night, the group chat lit up. The one we hadn't used in months. The one titled Family Things that Lisa had made after some weekend spot trip years ago. Normally, it was dead. But suddenly, message after message started flooding in. Lisa texted, "Does anyone know if Jordan's even planning to show up Sunday?" Uncle Ray texted, "Show up where?" Lisa texted, "Dad's birthday. At the house. 3 p.m. Cousin Tara texted, "I thought he wasn't invited?" Lisa texted, "That's not the point. It's still Dad's birthday. He needs to be there." Michael texted, "He's ghosting me too. My lease is up next month and I need help figuring it out." He won't respond. Then Lisa tagged me directly and texted, "Can you please stop being petty? You made your point. Let's just put this behind us." For Dad. I didn't reply. An hour later, my voicemail dinged. Another one from Dad. This one different. Jordan, he said, in a low, tired voice, I know you're mad. I don't blame you. I wasn't proud of what happened at the restaurant. I should have said something. Should have told them to stop. But I didn't. I sat there, like always. That's on me. But you not showing up Sunday, that's on you now. So just think about it. That's all I ask. I replayed it twice. Then once more, just to catch the tremor in his voice. Guilt has a funny way of dressing itself up in honesty. I sat with it. I considered showing up. Then Sunday came. And so did something else. Because that morning, while I was still in bed, I got a delivery. A large white envelope with my name in bold print. No return address. Inside were two things: a handwritten letter, a copy of a legal document. The letter was from Lisa, scribbled in rushed cursive, as if she'd written it through clenched teeth. It started like an apology. But halfway through, the tone shifted. I was just trying to make the night about Michael, she wrote. It wasn't personal. But your little stunt has put me in a terrible position. The bank is hounding me. The mortgage is defaulting. And now Mom and Dad are mad at me. You need to fix this. Please. Then the kicker, Uncle Dean said we might have grounds to fight it. He's got a lawyer friend who looked over the paperwork and thinks there's a loophole. If we challenge the ownership transfer. I stopped reading. I picked up the legal document. Sure enough, it was a notice of intent. She was trying to dispute the mortgage agreement. To claim she'd been misled. She brought in a lawyer. She was going to fight me. After everything I'd done, after the bills, the co-signing, the years of silent sacrifices, she was trying to take the house back. That's when I realized something. They never wanted me to be family. Not really. They just wanted access. And now? Now they were about to learn what it meant to lose it. I didn't react immediately. I didn't call Lisa. I didn't storm over or write some scathing text that she could screenshot and twist into proof of victimhood. I just sat there at my kitchen table, the letter and the legal notice spread out in front of me, steam rising from the coffee I'd forgotten I poured. She really did it. After everything, this was her move. It wasn't enough to humiliate me, take my money, and hand me a takeout box while they toasted the real success story. Now, when I finally said no, they thought they could force me back into their world through legal pressure. I stared at the envelope for a long time, and something inside me settled. Not anger, not hurt, something colder, quieter, like a final door clicking shut. So I made a decision. I picked up my phone and called my lawyer, Renee. We'd worked together for a few years, and she was one of the few people in my life who never sugarcoated anything. Jordan, she said, picking up on the second ring. You okay? Yeah, I said. But I need you to make something crystal clear in the records. Shoot. I want the full foreclosure process to begin on Lisa's house, I said, voice flat. And I want it airtight. No delays. No extensions. She's already behind, and now she's trying to dispute the ownership. Let's get this moving before she pulls something else. There was a pause. Then a sharp exhale. She really went there. Huh? She went there, I said, standing up to pace the room. And I want to make sure when the papers land, they land hard. No loopholes. No wiggle room. And Renee. Yeah, I want her served at the birthday party. Renee didn't ask any questions. She just said, you got it, and hung up. That Sunday afternoon, while everyone gathered at my parents' house, drinking cheap wine and pretending everything was fine, a silver Lexus pulled up to the curb. A man in a charcoal gray suit stepped out. He checked his watch, pulled a thick envelope from his briefcase, and walked up the front steps. Lisa answered the door. From the security footage I got later from a neighbor who owed me a favor, she was smiling when she opened it, until he said her name and handed over the documents. She took them slowly, flipping through the first few pages. You can actually see the moment her mouth opens slightly and her eyes start darting across the legal jargon. Then she drops the envelope. She tries to hand it back. He just nods, steps down the stairs, and walks back to his car. Game over. That night, my phone blew up again. Missed calls. Voicemails. Angry texts. First from Lisa, then Michael, then my mother. Lisa, you vindictive little, how dare you do this on Dad's birthday? This is low, even for you. Michael, bro, you're really gonna throw your own family out on the street? Over a dinner? Mom, you're destroying this family. Please, talk to me. You're better than this. But they were wrong. I wasn't destroying anything. I was finally cleaning up the mess they built. And now that the gloves were off, I didn't stop there. I called the bank that held the car loan for Michael, informed them of the voluntary repossession, and shared the text he'd sent admitting he couldn't pay. I requested they pursue the full remaining balance, which I'd co-signed, but had rescinded all financial responsibility from thanks to a waiver he signed, again, something he never read, just signed and handed back when I offered to help. Then I contacted the electric and water utility companies. Remember that do not restart without owner consent flag I set? I kept it on. My parents called me directly the next day. Jordan, Dad said, his voice unusually soft. Can we talk? In person. No, I said. Please. You're still our son. No, I repeated. I was your son. Then you laughed while I sat in a hallway with cold pasta like a servant. You toasted the nephew I helped put through school, and when the bill came, you sent the waiter to me like I was the hired help. I didn't know, he said. You didn't care, I replied. But now I do. And I'm done. A week passed. Lisa begged for a meeting. She even tried coming to my work. I had security escort her out. She finally left one voicemail that struck a nerve, but not in the way she hoped. You know, she said, her voice cracking, you always played the victim. You act like you were so unloved. But maybe you just made yourself hard to love. Always judging. Always acting better than the rest of us. Maybe that's why no one wanted to sit next to you. I played that voicemail twice. Then I uploaded it to the shared family drive, the one we used for birthdays and holidays and baby photos. Just labeled the file, what Lisa thinks when she thinks no one's listening. The reactions were satisfying. Cousin Tara texted me the next day, yikes. You were right. Uncle Ray, just listen to that. You didn't deserve any of this. Even Grandpa, who hadn't said much in years, called me, just to say he was proud of me. Eventually, the house went into foreclosure. Lisa tried to drag it out, but she didn't have the funds or the legal standing. She and Michael moved back in with my parents, who now had utilities under their name, with a hefty deposit required since they had a delinquent record. I never lifted a finger to help. Word spread. They stopped inviting me to things, of course, but that was fine. For the first time, I spent the holidays with friends who actually appreciated my presence. I even hosted a dinner, small and warm, with people who asked how I was doing and didn't expect anything more than my company. It took a long time to stop flinching every time my phone buzzed, to stop feeling that sting in my chest when I saw old photos pop up, to stop wondering if I'd overreacted. But I didn't. I set a boundary. I stopped being their fallback plan. And in doing so, I finally became something they never expected. Free. So yeah, seats are reserved for real family, Lisa had said. She was right. They are. Which is exactly why they're all hers now. And I'm no longer in one.